Before we get into today's video, I wanted to give a big thanks to our sponsor, ExpressVPN. Need protection for your devices or just want to watch content not available in your region? Well, the best VPN service in my opinion is ExpressVPN. For those of you who don't know what a VPN is, I'll give you the heads up. A VPN, or Virtual Private Network, is essentially a mask for all the devices you use while you mess around on the internet. Without one of these masks, your sensitive data is exposed and potentially at risk to the likes of spies and hackers. So ExpressVPN puts a stop to that so you no longer have to worry. And because you're no longer worrying, you can kick back, relax, and watch content across many different platforms that you might not have got a little bit of typing and clicking. You can bypass all of that. I, for one, have been watching The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, as it's actually on Netflix Canada. And I gotta say, it's been nice, chillin', maxin', and relaxin' all cool with one of my favorite shows from the 90s. And guess what? You could be too. You can go to expressvpn.com/MysticUmbreon and get 3 months for free when you sign up. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to learn more and get protected today. Well, we've already put together a ranking of all the fire starters and water starters from weakest to strongest. So I guess that only leaves us with one last hill to climb, ranking the grass type starters. As I've said before, I'm going to be ranking Pokemon based on all that they have had going on throughout their existence in Pokemon games, up until their most recent appearance. Let's get right into things, as this is the last one of these starter rankings we've got left. Starting things off as the weakest grass starter is, unfortunately, Meganium. As you guys know, I have a major love for Chikorita and Bayleaf, and I really like Meganium a bit too, but I won't let how much I love this line blind me from the fact that it is indeed the absolute worst of the grass starters. Now, I've enjoyed using Meganium many times in my playthroughs. That is just a straight fact. This whole line is incredibly adorable, and in my mind, are really well designed Pokemon. That being said, however, just looking cute or anything aesthetic like that doesn't exactly make you a very good Pokemon to use competitively. Meganium is one of the few starter Pokemon in general that seem like a relatively good thing to have in a Pokemon. Natural bulk. Well, that isn't wrong, but Meganium doesn't actually have much to work with alongside that bulk. It's got two rather useless abilities with Overgrow and Leaf Guard, the latter only working when the sun is out and just prevents status elements. I suppose if you wanted to make Meganium into some sort of stalling Pokemon, that having an ability like Leaf Guard would be helpful, but there are just so many other Pokemon that would definitely do that job better, perhaps even one or two on this list. There are some strong grass type moves that Meganium can learn through various different ways like Petal Blizzard, Energy Ball, and Leaf Storm, as that really is. Following up on Meganium is the grass starter from Kalos, the Chestnut line. If I'm just being honest here, Chestnut is in a very similar boat as Meganium for me. I actually think Chespin's pretty cute. I don't mind Quilladin, and I'm not all that sure if I actually hate or love the way Chestnut looks. However, I'm quite sure that I don't really like using Chestnut at all when I do playthroughs of X and Y. It just isn't a very good Pokemon, and the only reason it is above Meganium here is because it has some sort of ability on the offense entirely disregarded. It can serve as some sort of physical wall, and its 107 base attack is one of the better it has, leaves it at the mercy of the all-powerful fairy types, as well as ice and psychic types. There's actually a ton of weaknesses that Chestnut has to deal with, alongside the ones I just mentioned just now, including fire and of course flying. Its two abilities are just as awful as Meganium's, being Overgrow and Bulletproof, neither being all that helpful. If there's any saving grace for Chestnut, it's that it has access to some decent stab moves, like Power Up Punch, Seed Bomb, and Drain Punch. With those two out of the way, we move on to a Pokemon that is at least a little more usable, albeit still not super great. Alola's Decidueye. As you guys know, I'm a big fan on Rowlet on its own, and while I think Dartrix is nothing more than an edgy teenager listening to My Chemical Romance, I do believe Decidueye is an incredibly cool looking Pokemon. It's got an interesting ability, and of course I'm not talking about Overgrow. No, I'm instead talking about Long Reach, which allows Decidueye's attacks to connect with the opponent without actually making contact. That means that if it's facing something like a Garchomp with Rough Skin or a Ferrothorn, it won't take any damage. That also counts for Pokemon holding the Rocky Helmet too. So in competitive, the Decidueye actually serves as a decent counter to those plans. Its stats are alright too, focusing on the attack 8 base HP stat, and its speed is awful at only 70 base. Really, those are the fundamentals that hold the Decidueye back, as regardless of its great power and fine special defense, it can't take a physical hit at all, and considering the fact that it will probably be outsped by so many other Pokemon, it can hardly do what it needs in battle. There's even some good moves it can use, like Spirit Shackle and Leaf Blade, but really its ranking on this strength list comes down to the fact that its awful speed and poor bulk prevent it from being something you can truly consider strong. Look, with this next one, you guys know I'm not being biased. I think you guys kind of get the drill by now. But I'm not here to bash on the way how Torterra looks. I'm here to talk about how it compares to the other grass type starters. Like for example, I can talk about the abilities Torterra has. It's got Overgrow like all other grass types, but it also has Shell Armor. As you probably already know, Shell Armor prevents critical hits from being dealt to Torterra, which is a pretty good ability for any Pokemon to have. Torterra has some good stats as well, but just like with Decidueye, it has such incredibly awful speed. It's got 95 base HP and a 105 base defense, which provides it with good bulk. And on top of that, its attack is base 109. Torterra is essentially set up to be a massive threat on the physical side of things. And even its special defense isn't absolutely horrid at base 85. However, my goodness you guys, that base 56 speed is just bottom of the barrel trash. The only physical attack was enough to put it ahead. It's also got access to Earthquake via level up that serves as a tremendous stab move alongside Leaf Blade. You could set off Curse on Torterra as well, and since its speed is awful, it's really a sacrifice that can be made. I really don't like Torterra, but I can't deny how good it can be competitively, at least compared to the 3 before it. Starting off the stronger half of this list is the grass type of Generation 3, the Sceptile line. You guys know I really love Trico, and I like Grovyle even more thanks to its appearances in the Mystery Dungeon series. Sceptile, on the other hand, I have always been a fan of. And in my research of this video, I gotta say I was pleasantly surprised that it was better than I gave it credit for. However, one thing that isn't exactly great about Sceptile is its 2 abilities. Particularly makes it out that Sceptile needs to be running with the berry to get any mileage out of it. However, of course, Sceptile does Mega Evolve, and when it does, Lightning Rod is available to it, which at least is evolving with base 120, which is just top notch, and its special attack is pretty nice too at base 105. The biggest thing working against Sceptile is its defenses, neither being all that good at all, and it lacks a lot of bulk with a low base HP stat. Though with all of that in mind, Sceptile is an absolutely strong glass cannon, and there are definitely places for Pokemon like it in competitive play that honestly gives it higher worth than Pokemon before it on this list. When it Mega Evolves, its special attack and speed shoot up to 145 base, and that makes having moves like Leaf Storm, Dragon Pulse, and Energy Ball even more effective. I can't deny the drawbacks that Sceptile has to deal with, both as is and as a Mega Evolution, but it's dangerously good when used right. Next up, we have the most recent addition to the pantheon of grass-type Pokemon, that great ape himself, Rillaboom. As you guys know, I'm a really big Cinderace fan, but my favorite right after him from the 8th gen starters is definitely Rillaboom. This Pokemon looks pretty cool, and its soon-to-be released Gigantamax form is nothing if not super cool. I was surprised to see just how good Rillaboom was. Much like of Sceptile, it isn't exactly the most exciting when it comes to abilities it has, as it just has Overgrow and a so far unreleased Grassy Surge, which honestly can be a great ability. When you look at the stats for Rillaboom, you'll see that it is pretty clearly a physical attacker with some good physical bulk. Its HP is base 100, and its attack is 125 with 98 defense, while its speed lags behind a base 85. There's nothing going on when it comes to the special side of things here, but that's alright, as Rillaboom is honestly pretty set up to excel physically anyway. Its signature move is called Drum Beating, and it will learn it when it evolves from Thwackey, and that move has got a great secondary effect that lowers the opponent's speed by a stage when it hits successfully. Suddenly, you've got a powerful stab boosted base 120 move that lowers the opponent's speed, and that base 85 isn't too big of a deal anymore. Some of the other moves Rillaboom has at its disposal include Wood Hammer, Boom Burst, and a whole host of TMs and TRs like Earthquake, U-Turn, and Body Press. There is so much that can go into making Rillaboom an absolutely great Pokemon competitively, and I look forward to seeing just how much its G-Max form really changes things up for this monkey. Finally, we're at the penultimate Pokemon, and I've got to say, it must be the Banana Snake itself, Serperior. Now forgive me here as I am going to be playing devil's advocate for a moment. Even though I put Serperior this high on this list, all of its stats but speed really aren't all that great, so I could understand arguments putting it much lower on the list. However, I just couldn't deny the single best ability on any grass starter. Contrary. Serperior can be made out to be quite defensively inclined, with base 95 defense and special defense, and with that 113 base speed, it is bound to add speed many other Pokemon. Contrary is an ability that essentially reverses whatever stat changes a Pokemon goes through. So for instance, if a Pokemon with Intimidate switched in on a Contrary Serperior, it'll end up actually raising its attack by a stage instead of dropping it. The big way people tend to take advantage of Serperior is by taking advantage of the move Leaf Storm, which would normally lower the user's special attack by 2 stages when used. However, with Contrary, it'll essentially double a Pokemon's special attack instead, and that turns Serperior into an incredibly dangerous Pokemon. You'll be able to invest in the defenses of Serperior while taking advantage of that great speed, and suddenly you'll have this not be denied that Serperior has potential to be the best Pokemon of all the grass type starters. But today, I found out that there was just one Pokemon better than it. That Pokemon, of course, is the OG Grass Starter, the line that takes the first 3 slots in the Pokedex, the Venusaur line. Guys, you know I absolutely love these Pokemon an awful lot. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Venusaur is hands down one of the best starter defense at base 100, and the rest of its stats are between 80 and 83 at their base. Obviously, that will show you that it is made for physical usage, and that's pretty true. However, when it Mega Evolves, things become a bit different, as its attack goes up to 100, and its defense suddenly becomes base 123, making it incredibly bulky. Its hidden ability Chlorophyll needs the sun to activate, but makes Venusaur very fast, and that plays a big part in why it's up here as the strongest grass starter. However, it's also got an incredibly diverse move pool that allows it to be at this point as well. It has access to moves like Outrage, Earthquake, Power Whip, and Swords Dance, all which can be used effectively to turn Venusaur into a powerhouse jack-of-all-trades sort of Poke. Great powder moves that can help it poison an opponent or put them to sleep. Also, Venusaur is one of the only starters actually available in the 8th gen, along with Decidueye and Rillaboom, and thanks to that, it'll be receiving its own Gigantamax form very soon, which looks incredible. Seriously, I couldn't think of a lot of things to say about Venusaur that you find deserving of being the very first Pokemon in the Pokedex. Well guys, that'll do it for this video, and for this little series taking a look at my opinions on this how strong and weak all the starters are. I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and I want you to let me know what you think about this one. Do you agree with my rankings, or do yours differ a little bit? Let me know down below, and I'll be sure to check them out. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream a lot of Pokemon content and all kinds of other Nintendo content like Zelda, Fire Emblem, and much more. Also, I've been reviewing every episode of My Hero Academia Season 4 over on Mystic Sage, so head over there if you're into that too. I would love that a lot. Want to support me further and gain cool perks? Check out my Patreon. Daniel Leone, Lady Crimson, Memory Martin, The Lazy Leo, Matthew Young, Awesome Lego, Jarrett Weiss Austin, Sodden Grider,